Brahmachari and Atulananda Brahmachari, they used to come to take their subscription. And they were requesting that why don't you come to our mata? Why don't you come to our mata? You are now free. In Maharatta, Prabhupada, Maharatta, yes. Then the intimate relationship with Gaudiya Math grew. In this way, I think in 1933, yes, Sir Malcolm Halley came to lay down the foundation stone of Allahabad Mata. Maharaj, I think you remember, yes? Siddhar Maharaj, yes. We were coming from Vrindavan Parikram. Prabhupada, yes, Parikrama. And the Parikrama, that is also another incident. I was not initiated at that time, but I had very good admiration for these Gaudiya Math people. And therefore, before 1933, I met Sridhar Maharaj and other devotees, old Tirtha Maharaj. They were kind to me. The Parikrama, I thought, what these people are doing in this Parikrama, let me go. So I met them in Koshi. Parvat Maharaj, you may remember, and all other people were going to see some Sheshashai. So at that time, Vinod Bhai, later on Keshav Maharaj, informed that Prabhupada is going to Mathura tomorrow morning and he will speak Harikatha this evening. Anyone who wants to remain may remain, or otherwise they may die. At that time, I think only 10 or 12 men remained. Out of them, Sridhar Maharaj was one of them. And I thought it wise. What shall I see, Sheshashai? Let me hear. Prabhupada will speak. Let me hear. So Prabhupada means Bhakti Siddhanta, marked that this boy, he doesn't go away. Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 20. Durapa hi alpa tapasaha Durapa hi alpa tapasaha Seva Vaikuṇṭha Vatmasu Seva Vaikuṇṭha Vatmasu Yatra Upagiyate Nityam Yatropagiyate Nityam Devadevo Janardanaha Devadevo Janardanaha Durapahi Alpatapasaha Seva Vaikuṇṭha Vatmasu Yatropagiyate Nityam Devadevo Janardanaha.
Seva
durapa, rarely obtainable, he certainly, alpatapasaha, of one whose austerity is meager, seva, service, Vaikuṇṭha, the transcendental kingdom of God, vatmasu, on the path of yatra, wherein upagiyate is glorified, nityam, always, deva, of the demigods, devaha, the Lord, jana ardhanaha, the controller of the living entities. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation, persons whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees, who are progressing on the path back to the kingdom of God, the Vaikuṇṭhas. Pure devotee engage 100% in glorifying the Supreme Lord, who is the Lord of the demigods and the controller of all living entities. Please repeat. Persons whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees who are progressing on the path back to the kingdom of Godhead, the Vaikuṇṭhas. Pure devotees engage 100% in glorifying the Supreme Lord, who is the Lord of the demigods and the controller of all living entities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The path of liberation, as recommended by all authorities, is to serve the Mahatma Transcendentalists. As far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the Mahatmas are the pure devotees who are on the path to Vaikuṇṭha, the kingdom of God, and who always chant and hear the glories of the Lord, rather than talk of dry, profitless philosophy. This system of association has been recommended since time immemorial, but in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, it is especially recommended by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even if one has no assets of favorable austerity, if he nevertheless takes shelter of the Mahatmas who are engaged in chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord, he is sure to make progress on the path back home, back to Godhead. The Sansta Bhaktivedanta Parpoto Madhyanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Resarasvate Ve Gauravani Pracharine Shinmashesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Vidura's questions, further inquiries to his spiritual master Maitreya is going on. Further inquiries are going on. So here he makes the comment, Durapahi alpatapasaha seva Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu. For anyone whose austerity, some assets of austerity are not there in one's life, that means he has never done any austerity. So such favorable austerities are not there in one's life. Then durapa, it is very difficult, rare, it is very rare, very hard. What is that? Seva Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu, to obtain the service of pure devotee. So if the austerities are meager, they are not available, there are no assets of austerities. Tapas. We never did any tapas. Tapas means voluntarily accepting pains, hardships to progress in spiritual life. This is austerity. Austerities means voluntarily we accept some troubles and some hardships to progress in spiritual life. So if such favorable austerities are not there in one's account, there are no assets like that, then what happens? Durapa. It is actually very rarely obtainable or hardly obtainable. Seva Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu, the service of the pure devotees. And what is a pure devotee? He is actually Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu, he is progressing on the path of going back to Vaikuṇṭha. And then what they do? Yatropagayate nityam, always they glorify Krishna. This is how you can recognize a pure devotee. Nityam, they always upagiyate, they glorify whom? Devadevo Janardana, the Lord of the demigods and the controller of the living entities. Krishna says, Aham Adrihi Devanam. So Krishna is the Devadevo, Janardana is the controller of all living entities. So, pure devotee means 24 hours he is simply glorifying Krishna. He will be chanting or he will be hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the qualification of a pure devotee. And when somebody does like that, then he is Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu, he is traversing the path of Vaikuṇṭha, going back to Vaikuṇṭha. Every action in our life, action could be subtle, that means a thought, or it could be a physical action. Every action is pushing us towards a certain destination. It is taking us nearer to a certain destination. It could be a physical action or it could be a mental or subtle action. So every thought or every physical action is pushing us towards a certain destination. So pure devotees, because their subtle and gross actions are always in glorifying Krishna, Devo, Janardana, so they are Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu. Their destination is Vaikuṇṭha. And sometimes they think of politics, sometimes they think of Krishna, sometimes they think of something else. Then is it possible? No. Nityam. Yatropagiyate nityam. Always, 24 hours they are absorbed in glorifying Krishna. Now this is the practice. When we come together, or when we are alone, or when we are put into a certain situation, what is that we are subtly thinking? Is it taking me nearer to Vaikuṇṭha, or is it getting absorbed in this material world? This is the criteria for a devotee. Always one should be conscious that whether his subtle or gross actions are taking him closer to Krishna or they are increasing their attachment to this world. So, increasing our attachment to this world means it comes in various forms. In innumerable ways, we are always attracted to this world. And then Maya creates so many attractions. If we are not attracted to this, then suddenly there will be one more variety which will pull you and attract you. This is how the Maya is continuously. Maya has two aspects. One is called ingredient supplying portion. It supplies the ingredients. And one more portion is, it creates all these wonderful manifestations. It creates beautiful people, beautiful bodies, beautiful manifestations. And how beautiful and how wonderful, very attractive. So Maya is trying to attract us, keep us here. But whereas a pure devotee means he is always attracted to glorifying Krishna. Atropagayate nityam. Actually, we cannot be free from this glorification. 24 hours we are also glorifying. Nobody can be free. If that capacity is not there to glorify 24 hours, Shastra will not say 24 hours you should glorify Krishna. That capacity is there in us. 24 hours we are glorifying. But more or less we glorify ourselves. In the mind, if you go on listening, what is that which is going on? Continuously, oh, you are so beautiful, so wonderful, so nice. What a dialogue, what a comment, what a this, what is that. Wow, continuously it is glorifying you. Your mind is glorifying and glorifying. But then that glorification will only enhance our attachment to our bodies and unto this world. Why? Because glorification means something which is very attractive. Then only you will glorify. Something which is wonderful, something is very, it's called vibhuti. So Krishna says, yat yat vibhuti mat sattvam. Whatever vibhutis you see in this world, that means a wonderful, great manifestation. How wonderful they are, you want to glorify. Wow, what a building, what a tower, what a, like that they glorify. So 24 hours it is going on. Radha Govinda ki jai. It is going on. And so that has to be, that ability to 24 hours glorify has to be diverted. Our whole sadhana process is how to utilize these dormant capacities, all the capacities in us in glorification of Krishna. It is there, this 24-hour glorification capacity is there, but that has to be directed towards Krishna. But then in a day-to-day life, so many kinds of situations will get into, how can I glorify Krishna in all ways? So that's why it is said that Seva Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu tatropaga giyate nityam. That's why we have to approach such people, such devotees who are already doing 24-hour kirtan. See, you want to advance and progress in a certain subject. If somebody has already did that, it's natural. We will go and ask him. In our day-to-day life also, student life or company life, professional life, or any life, if you see some success and then you want to replicate that success, it's natural. We have to go and ask them, sir, now how did you do? Such a wonderful thing. He will say some nonsense and then we'll become very attracted. Yes, I should also do like this. And then when we do, we may achieve or we may not achieve. Anyway, so here, similarly, the goal is yatropagiyate nityam, always chant the glories of Krishna. Now, how is it possible? How is it possible? Because we are so much addicted to either glorifying our own bodies. We are so much addicted to decorating and glorifying our bodies, extension of our bodies, always absorbed in that. So now, how is it that I can always glorify Krishna? So that's why one has to take shelter of a pure devotee. And then seva, under his direction, one has to render service. This is the secret. But here, the Shastra is saying, Durapa hi alpatapashaha. You want to approach such a pure devotee and render some service, it is not possible for people with less austerities, less assets of the austerities. Is it not? If the austerities are not there. But then the question is, in our life also, did we do any austerity? How is it that we have now come to seva Vaikuṇṭhas? Did you remember any austerity that we have done? Austerity means, because of some brainwashing in the movies and all that, we think, somebody sitting in one place for hundreds and thousands of years, and then, his body is become very skinny, big beards, all those things. Yes, such austerities are also there. They are also there. And we have also heard from Bhagavatam about the devotees doing severe austerities, like Dhruva Maharaj and many other devotees. So, actually, if you look at all this, when you read such severe austerities, we can easily see, actually we have almost nil, alpatapasaha. We don't have any such assets. Seva Vaikuṇṭhas. Then how is it that it is possible for us to take shelter of Prabhupada and able to chant and able to do some services? How is it possible? So that's why when here it is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes one prayer. He is offering his prayers to the spiritual master. He says, Kabe heno krupa labiya ejana krutadha haibenatha shakti buddhihina ami atidhina. Now he is also admitting. He is saying, Shakti buddhihina. I don't have any strength and intelligence, and I am actually very fallen. Atidhina. Koromore atmasata. He is saying, somehow make me your beloved servant. And then he goes on to say, Jogyata vichare. If I examine myself, Jogyata means yogyata. In Telugu, yogyata means any assets are there. If I examine myself, he says, Kichunai pai. I find nothing of value. If I examine, okay, what are the assets that I have got in terms of any austerities, I find nothing of value. Then what is my hope? Tumare karuna sara. Your mercy is therefore essential to me. This is the mood of a disciple. He is saying, I don't have any qualifications. It's not that because we all have some great assets of austerity, some great qualifications, that we came in touch with Prabhupada and his mission, and we are able to render service directly to Krishna, Guru and Krishna. It is not because of our great assets. In fact, one should think that if I examine myself, I don't find any qualifications at all. But then how is it that it is possible? Tumara karuna sara, only because of your mercy. Actually, this is the fact. It's the causeless mercy of Krishna, particularly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the causeless mercy of Guru that we got this opportunity. Otherwise, it is impossible that people with alpa medasaha, alpa tapasaha, they are able to achieve such a service to a pure devotee. Actually, during this prasada sevana time, when we are about to hana prasad, we will be chanting these mantras. Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Swalpa Punya Vratan Rajan Vishwasho Naiva Jayate. If somebody has Swalpa Punya, Alpa Tapasaha, then Vishwasha, he will not get confidence. He will not get confidence in what? Mahaprasada. In the prasadam of the Supreme Lord, he will not get Vishwasha. He will not get faith. Mahaprasade Govinda, about Govinda, on Govinda, Radha Govinda, he will not get confidence. And then Mahaprasade Govinde Nama, holy name, he will not get confidence. Vishwasa, Naiva Jayate, Nama Brahmana. What is the role of these Brahmanas? What is this Brahmana and all that? Who are these people? Why should I respect? No Vishwasa. Brahmana, then Vaishnavas. What is the value of these Vaishnavas? We don't give any value to these Vaishnavas. If Swalpa Punya, if one has very little Alpa Tapasaha, no credits, pious credits or no austerity credits are there, he will not develop Vishwasa. Actually, it's an indirect glorification that if you want to develop Vishwasa on Prasad, then one has to have a lot of Punya. It's a glorification of Prasadam. But it has been worded in such a way that if there is an Alpa Tapasaha, then it's not possible to gain confidence, Vishwasa or faith on these transcendental aspects. So that's why in the beginning days, we have to simply adhere to the instructions of the spiritual master. We have to chant these prayers before we honor prasadam. That's when it is called honoring prasadam. And if you don't chant out of even then, in whatever way you eat, you are touching fire, there will be some sukruti we will get. But actually, if you can do under the direction of the spiritual master, then we will get the full benefit of following. So here, seva means to follow his instructions. Seva Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu, to follow his instruction. And then how you will get the faith and how you develop all these things? Simply by serving the spiritual master, particularly by associating with him. Here you have to hear, continuously you have to hear. When Prabhupada is glorifying, Yatropa Giyate Nityam, he is chanting and hearing 24 hours. Fortunately, those things are recorded. And then he has also kept that Giyate, glorification of Krishna, in his books. So if somebody is fortunate enough to get attracted to reading Prabhupada books and hearing him on a daily basis, then he will certainly, he will also become Vaikuṇṭhavatmasu. His actions will take him to the destination, that is Vaikuṇṭha. He will become free from all anxieties. So that's why Prabhupada is saying here in the purport, this system of association with Mahatmas or pure devotees is recommended since time immemorial. From very ancient times, always it is recommended that we should associate with a pure devotee. We are so fortunate that association is available. We can take advantage of the wealth of books that Srila Prabhupada has left for us, the wealth of sound that he has left for us. So many lectures, so many conversations, so many letters, so many things he has left for us. It's all association of a pure devotee. So if somebody takes advantage of this association, so here Prabhupada is saying it is recommended from time immemorial, but in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, it is especially recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu says, Sthane sthita sudikatam tanuvan manobhi. So, tanu and mana, by our gross and subtle actions, one has to sthane sthita shrutika go on hearing Prabhupada's sound and Prabhupada's teachings in his books. Go on taking his association. So then what happens? Even if one has no assets of favorable austerity, if he nevertheless takes shelter of the Mahatmas, who are engaged in chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord, he is sure to make progress on the path back home, back to Godhead. We will also be Vaikuṇṭha. Very simple process. One has to simply become greedy to go on associating with Srila Prabhupada. And what does Prabhupada do? He is Deva Devo Janardana, always glorifying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You don't get such clarity from anybody else. Simply by taking advantage of this association, one can make miraculous advancement. Miraculous advancement. Beyond his intellectual calculations, one progresses wonderfully. I think one more class I was mentioning, because this process is a consciousness process. Prabhupada will directly touch the soul, and then the soul will be woken up. And as soon as the soul is woken up, no need to teach him how to love Krishna and all that. He is an automatic lover. Love of Godhead is dormant, already is there. But the soul has to be woken up. So that's why we are all sleeping now. There are woken up means little austerities. Little more woken up means more austerities he has done. He has got lot of credits, assets are there, pious assets are there, Sukruti is there. Then he is woken up little more. If he is sleeping means not only gross sleeping, it is there are no Sukrutis in his life. Even then, if he gives oral reception to Prabhupada, to Srila Prabhupada's books, to Srila Prabhupada's sound, then even though he may feel, I have so many limitations, I have so many weaknesses, I am very fallen, doesn't matter, Tumara Karuna Sara, my life is nothing but your mercy. So that's what we have to always pray to the spiritual master. Krupa Bindu Diya Kuroye Dase Trunapeka Tihina. He is saying, by a drop of mercy, make this servant of yours more humble than a blade of grass. See, we should not pray to Guru that give me one building, give me latest car, or one wife, this and that. We should pray for a drop of mercy. For what? To become humbler than a blade of grass. Only then you will be able to hear. If we are already proud, I know, already I have heard, I have finished, I have already completed, smashed, all those things, then we will not be able to hear. We will be calculating simply. Here, that's why he is praying, make me humbler than a blade of grass. Then what will happen? Sakala Sahane. Then I will be able to tolerate all kinds of troubles in my life. Baladiya Guru, please give me strength to do all that. Then Nijamane Spruhahina. Then I will be able to honor all living entities. Then only I will be able to understand how to respect each and every living entity. See, actually, unless we come to this respect management, how to respect all living entities, we will not be able to chant our rounds properly. Don't think there is a shortcut to all this. Unless we become humble, we realize how to respect Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, Mahaprasade, Govinde, Nama, Brahmana, Vaishnava, then, and ordinary people, and even animals, all living entities, then only we will be able to understand. We'll come to that stage of nicely chanting 24 hours. Any questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణవాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి